1991 Toyota MR2 SW20 Prime Turbo Swap.
Ooh, MR2, show me everything you do.
Welcome back to the Mark II MR2. We did a bone stock white SW20 Turbo a few years ago, but that was, a survivor car. That was just as is. And I know we're still in the middle of RCR-NZ, but this car will complement that season's finale in May. So just for this 1 week, we're back in the United States. What happens when you start tuning an SW20? They blow up. That's the joke, right? But really, why are so many Mark II MR2s on Craigslist or Trade Me such dumpster fires? The intercooler. The stock SW20's intercooler is a block of moldy polystyrene over which somebody played five-finger fillet. The stock MR2 Turbo ran only 8 pounds of boost, and for that, the dinky, tiny little stock intercooler was adequate, but just. But if you up the boost, even with the stock turbo, the intercooler can't cool the intake air anymore. And then you're just cramming hot air into a mid-engine car that doesn't have the benefit of its engine sitting up front, getting that extra cooling wind from the car moving through the air. So your water temperature gauge pegs, and it won't go down. And you think, I'll just drive it home, I'll take easy. Nope. Bang. Because the Toyota Gen 2 engine didn't have a multi-layer head gasket. Now true, the Toyota head gaskets weren't Subaru fragile, but you couldn't expect a stock Toyota head gasket to hold in high boost like a General Motors gasket can do with an LS motor. If you want to tune an SW20, you're going to have a Getty-style intercooler. There's no way around it. And this is what this Prime-built MR2 has. This SW20 used to be an NA car, but now it has the 2-liter 3S GTE inline-4 turbo, also called the Gen 2 turbo motor. It has a 5-speed manual transmission, and it makes 270 horsepower at the crank. And that's where the easy part ends. Now we get into the minutia of what makes this different from the other MR2s we've done. This has a Bomex replica wing, a late model Celica steering wheel from around 2000 to 2006, a factory 93 short shift lever, onto which there is a weighted shift knob, and replica red seats. And that's not all. Oh wait, no it's not. Freddy front lip and side skirts with custom splitters, NKRP F1 double staggered wheels that are 17 inches up front and 18 inches in the rear.
Just how Bang Bros like 'em.
TN coilovers, upgraded sway bar end links, drilled and slotted brake rotors, and EBC yellow brake pads. Also has a 3-inch exhaust, a bigger downpipe, but the injectors haven't been changed. And it still has the stock clutch. The stock clutch can handle 270 horsepower. Toyota always has to make things weird, don't they? The clutch is stronger than the head gasket. Usually is the other way around with most cars. Seriously, it's rare we ever review a car that has this much correct work done to it, but this old girl has had more work done to it than Courtney Cox and Rob Lowe put together. Plus, the bonus here is that because of the coilovers and larger wheels, it's more stable at speed than your average MR2. Remember, this is a classic car now. This car is over 25 years old, and people expect to drive these things like modern machines. Under the hood, the engine compartment has a TRD replica rear strut brace, upgraded intercooler kit, and a 3-inch Motoria exhaust. More importantly, all of the upgrades made to this car came from Prime themselves. And while it might not seem like a big deal, you have to consider it from a DeLorean point of view. An engine cottage industry was born from the popularity of the DeLorean after Back to the Future, centered solely on making parts for a car that no one bothered with in its own time. And sellers have been able to support themselves off the enthusiasm for a car whose legend is longer than the half-life of a frat boy's bad idea. But here's the thing. The MR2 series never had a Back to the Future of its own. It doesn't have a legend built off the back of a scandalous automaker. Even within Toyota, the MR2 has to live in the Supra's shadow. There isn't the same enthusiast community surrounding the MR2 despite it being a car that isn't all that hard to find. It might be rare to see these on the road in your town, but 1 out of every 5 car meets has an MR2. And you really can't say the same thing about DeLoreans. There's always the one DeLorean guy, and then, this is the guy, like, I used to be an MR2 owner myself, so I'm married. I'll write as many love letters to MR2s as I can, but there's always that one DeLorean guy, and he steals the show, and meanwhile, we work so hard on these MR2s, and here comes he's got his vest on, doesn't he? Oh! Look, I'm not trying to turn this into a DeLorean versus MR2 conflict. They are two completely different cars with not much in common aside from engine placement. Kind of. And something Lotus something. But what DeLoreans and MR2s have in common is communities dedicated to keeping them on the road today. However, while MR2s aren't rare, you probably have a harder time finding anybody who cares that you restored one. This is a restored MR2. A restored MR2. And it's possible to do this because Prime Driven exists. Justin is making Prime Driven into the Amazon for MR2 owners. Put all of the parts in one place. This is where small businesses are more effective than large conglomerates. They can be super specialized. Justin is a fan of RCR and a giddy nerd for MR2s. Because of geeky gearheads like him, Toyota's midship runabout 2-seaters will live on as modern classics. And this isn't a sponsored video. I'm just so happy he made his company work. And do you want to own this blue MR2 Turbo? Justin is doing a merch contest. Link in the doobly-doo, or if you like fingering, here's the URL. You got a week. So shine on, you crazy mid-engine machines. Shine on.
They're gonna give this car away, gonna give this car away. It feels just like a race, with the wind blowing in your face. Gonna give this car away, gonna give this car away. Feel the wind blow in your face. Oh, that happens every time I do my early 2000s rocker voice.